My father didn't even bother adding my name. Just a vibration on my phone at 6:12 p.m., right as the sunset broke into thin streaks of tangerine across my apartment wall. I had just sat down with a bowl of reheated pasta, the kind that tastes better the second day, when the notification lit up. 3 sentences. Told. Surgical. I disown you. Talk to my lawyer. Don't contact us again. No explanation. No hesitation. No trace of the man who used to place a hand on my back during thunderstorms and say, "It's just noise, sweetheart." I didn't cry. I didn't gasp. I didn't drop the phone dramatically like in movies. I just stared at the screen, feeling a quiet part of me unclench. Something that had been holding on for too many years. I typed one word back. Okay. My name is Julia Hart. I'm 30 years old, and on the night my father severed me from the family with a text message, I realized I'd been walking alone for much longer than he ever admitted. If this resonates with you, share your thoughts. It means more than you know. The pasta went cold on the table, untouched. Outside, a breeze pressed gently against the windows, carrying the smell of someone grilling down the street. The world moved casually, unaware that a piece of mine had just cracked loose. Thought about calling my mother. But then another notification came in. Dad had removed me from the family group chat. Blocked me on Facebook. Blocked my number immediately after sending the message. A clean cut. A rehearsed one. Almost like he'd been waiting to do it. My chest tightened, not with pain but with an old, too familiar mix of exhaustion and clarity. Because this wasn't new. This was just the first time he said the quiet part out loud. A memory rose without permission. I was 19, home from college for spring break. Dad stormed into the kitchen because I'd dented the car door. Barely a mark. He slammed his fist on the counter so hard the coffee mugs rattled. "You cost me more than you give," he said. My mother didn't even look up from the sink. I learned something that day. Some families make love a conditional contract. Some fathers measure daughters in dollars. I placed my phone face down and walked to the living room window. The evening light stretched across the floorboards like soft gold threads. Cars moved lazily past the streetlight. Somewhere a dog barked. My world was painfully ordinary except for the hole in it. Then a thought surfaced. Unbidden, bold. I don't owe them anymore. For years I'd been supporting my parents quietly. Rent when Dad lost a job for the 4th time. Medical bills my mother didn't want to tell him she couldn't pay. Groceries when they forgot theirs. Phone plans. Gas money. Loan payments. They never said thank you. They always said, "You should be grateful we raised you." But being raised and being loved are not the same thing. I walked to my small desk in the corner, tidy except for the cup of pens my niece had painted for me years ago. My financial spreadsheets sat open on the screen. Dad's text replayed in my mind. "I disown you." Then my reply. "Okay." My hands didn't shake as I opened my banking app. I scrolled through every auto transfer connected to them. Every monthly support payment. Every shared financial link. And one by one, I canceled everything. Rent support canceled. Groceries fund canceled. Phone bill disconnected. Dad's credit card extension removed. Mother's emergency line closed. I didn't do it out of revenge. I did it out of truth. If they didn't want me, they didn't get my help. The quiet in the room shifted. It felt cleaner. Lighter. For the first time in years my money was mine. The next morning, sunlight spilled through the blinds in warm stripes. I brewed coffee, its rich smell filling the apartment. Tasted different today. Less bitter. My phone buzzed. Not my father. Of course. It was my mother. Her messages came fast, frantic. "Julia, your father is furious. What did you do to the accounts? We can't pay the electric bill. Answer me." I didn't reply. Not out of cruelty. Out of peace. Around noon my cousin Mateo texted. "Hey. Did you mean to unhook all the family accounts? Your dad is losing it." I replied. "He disowned me." Mateo sent back 3 dots. Then another text. "Oh, then he has no right to your income." My chest warmed. Mateo always understood more than he said. He added, "They never appreciated you." This was coming. I stared at the message for a long moment. Maybe he was right. Maybe this ending had been writing itself for years. By the evening of the second day, 48 hours after the first text, the consequences finally reached them. My phone buzzed again. Mom called. Not texted. Not scolded. Told. I didn't answer. Let it ring until it cut off. 30 seconds later. She called again. Then again. Finally, I let the fourth call go to voicemail. I pressed play. Her voice, usually sharp, polished, always in control, was trembling. Julia, please, call me back. Something has happened. We can't access anything. Your father is panicking. He said he didn't think you would actually stop supporting us. Please, we need to talk. There was not worry for me. Not regret for cutting me off. Because the money had vanished. Because the daughter they valued only financially had finally stopped paying for their comfort. I sat on the couch, phone resting on my knee, the hum of the refrigerator filling the quiet. For years I begged them to see me. For years I translated love into bills paid on time. For years I mistook obligation for connection. Now the silence around me felt honest. I wasn't disowned. I was released. And I wasn't done walking. Because when I finally called my mother back, and it wouldn't be with fear. It would be with a truth they never expected to hear from the daughter who once apologized for taking up space. I didn't call her back that night. I placed the phone face down on the coffee table and let the room breathe. The lamplight pooled softly over the rug. Outside, someone's TV flickered blue through the apartment across the courtyard. A car door slammed. Somewhere in the building, a baby cried and then quieted as their parent hummed. Life went on. My own life for the first time felt like it belonged to me. I reheated my pasta from the night before, added extra parmesan and ate it in silence. The good kind. The kind that doesn't demand apology. My father's text replayed again in my head. I disown you. Talk to my lawyer. Once upon a time that sentence would have gutted me. Now it just sounded like what it was. A man trying to weaponize control he'd already lost. Because even when I was paying his bills, he never had what he really wanted. He didn't want a daughter. He wanted an obedient investor. I rinsed my plate under warm water, the sound of the faucet suddenly soothing. My reflection in the kitchen window looked unfamiliar, steadier somehow. Not harder. Just less willing to bend. The next morning my phone buzzed before I'd even poured my coffee. Voicemail from Mom. Voicemail from Dad. 3 texts from unknown numbers I recognized as bill collectors he'd given my contact to in the past. And 1 message from Mateo. Mateo. He's calling everyone, acting like you betrayed him. I told him to stop lying. 3 dots appeared then. For what it's worth, I'm on your side. Always. I leaned against the counter, brushing a crumb off my pajama shirt. Mateo had always been that way, quietly supportive in a family that loved theatrics. The one who slipped extra food onto my plate when I forgot to serve myself. The one who texted me on my birthdays when my parents forgot. The one who whispered at my college graduation. You did this. Not them. I texted back. Thank you. Okay. Just tired in a new way. He responded with a single line. Tired is okay. Free is better. He was right. By late afternoon, my mother finally sent something that wasn't coded in accusation. Julia, your father was wrong to text you that way. He didn't mean it. I stared at the words. He didn't mean it. But he typed it. Pressed send. Blocked me. Removed me. If he didn't mean it, it was his job to undo it. Not mine. Another message followed. The lawyer says nothing is formal yet, but we could lose everything without your help. The utilities, the mortgage, your father's medications. We didn't think you'd cut us off so suddenly. My jaw tightened. They hadn't thought I'd have boundaries. They'd counted on my guilt. For years I had been their silent safety net. Direct deposits they never spoke about in public. Sacrifices they never credited. Support they treated like a tax. Now that net was gone. And they were finally feeling the fall. I took a deep breath and called my mother. She answered on the first ring, voice raw with unrest. Julia. I sat on the edge of my bed, fingers worrying the seam of the blanket. Hi, Mom. The word felt strange in my mouth, not foreign but not familiar either. There was a shuffle on her end as though she were pacing. You're scaring us, she said, her tone wobbling between maternal and manipulative. We can't live like this. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof. The lights were almost cut off this morning. You have to fix this. I let the desperation sit there for a second. Let her feel the weight of her words. Then I asked calmly. Why would I fix something after he disowned me? On the other end, silence. The kind that doesn't come from a dropped call. The kind that comes from having no script. She took a shaky breath. He was angry, she said. He didn't mean what he said. You know how he gets. I stared at the wall, the chipped corner of paint I'd been meaning to repair, the tiny mark from when I'd moved the dresser. I do know how he gets, I replied. That's the problem. He's your father, she said quietly, as if that alone were holy. And I was his daughter when I was making sure rent was paid. Did that matter to him then? Silence again. I could almost hear her sifting through decades of conversations, trying to find one that justified the way they'd used me. You can't just cut us off, she said, pushing the words through a tight throat. We need you. There was. Honest, unadorned, naked. Not we love you. Not we're sorry. Not how are you holding up. Just, we need you. I swallowed hard. You need my money, I said softly. You've never needed me. That's not fair, she snapped, reflexive defensiveness slipping back in. We raised you. We gave you everything we could. I pictured everything. The nights they turned my dreams into punchlines. The times they called me dramatic for crying when they screamed. The birthdays they forgot until Facebook reminded them. The years they never visited my tiny studio apartment but showed up immediately when they needed a bill paid. I exhaled slowly. You gave me life, I said. But you don't get to hold it hostage. She didn't respond. So I continued, voice steady. I'm not your retirement plan. I'm not your emergency fund. I'm not a walking apology for the fact that you didn't prepare for your future. Her breath hitched. Julia, you can't punish us like this. I closed my eyes, pressing my head lightly against the wall. This isn't punishment, I whispered. This is math. You disowned me. I accepted. Now the finances match the relationship. I could feel the shift even through the phone. Something cracking, something rearranging. The foundation of how they'd seen me was crumbling under a simple truth. I was allowed to step away. On the other end, my mother's voice broke. We're scared, she admitted. We thought you'd always be there. My chest tightened, not out of guilt but out of grief. Grief for the version of me that had always been there. Grief for the years I'd spent proving my loyalty with money instead of receiving it with love. I softened my tone. I understand that you're scared, I said. But for 30 years I've been scared too. Scared to say no. Scared to disappoint you. Scared you'd do exactly what he did, throw me away. Her silence said enough. But you know what? I added gently. I'm more scared of wasting the rest of my life trying to earn love I've already paid for 100 times. A small, broken sound slipped from her. I don't know how to fix this, she whispered. Finally, the truth. I let my eyes close. It's not my job to fix it, I said. But I'm willing to talk. About boundaries. About respect. About not turning love into an invoice. She inhaled shakily. And the money? For now. I said, calm as steady rain. You and Dad will need to live within what you actually have. Like I did for years. Her exhale sounded like defeat and relief all at once. I don't know if your father will accept that, she admitted. Then that's his choice, I replied. Just like that text was his choice. We stayed on the phone longer than we had in months. Not yelling, not bargaining. Just circling this new reality. He told me about the mounting bills. I told her about the anxiety I had every time my paycheck hit. She confessed she'd known I was paying more than I should. I admitted I'd known she stayed quiet because it benefited her too. It wasn't a pretty conversation. But it was finally an honest one. Before we hung up, she said quietly, Julia, will you come for dinner next month? Not to talk about money. Just to be there. I thought about it. Really thought about it. Maybe, I said. If I come, it'll be because I want to. Not because you need something. I understand, she whispered. And I believed for the first fragile moment that maybe she actually did. If you've lived anything like this, tell your story, and don't forget to subscribe. After the call, I sat on the floor back against my bed, the room dim but peaceful. The city hummed outside my window. Car engines, distant laughter, the low murmur of a world that didn't know I'd just renegotiated my place within my own family. I picked up my phone and scrolled to Mateo's name. I finally said no, I texted. He replied almost instantly. Proud of you. Welcome back to your own life. I smiled, a slow, tired, genuine smile. My father still hadn't reached out again. Maybe he would. Maybe he wouldn't. But for the first time the thought didn't terrify me. Because I realized something as I turned off the light and let the quiet settle. I was no longer afraid of losing a family that never truly held me. I was building something different now. Something just for me. Sometimes freedom sounds like no more.